we live in a paradoxical world. In a way, we've never had, in the history of humanity, so much access to information. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you can basically do a PhD from your room. You can have free access to any top university courses. So if you want to be trained in string theories, you can download a podcast, you can watch videos, anything. You go to the website of the Collège de France, for instance, they have all the courses online for free. The paradox is that people are not using that. If you look at videos that are being watched the most on YouTube or any social platform, these are not lectures on physics, these are cat videos, okay? And so here we reach a point where you start to question about why is it? You know, I think it's laziness. It's laziness on behalf of ourselves, because we live in a society where we want to have access to anything instantaneously. But this is also because of technology. Because technology, as you mentioned, is driving, is making us think in a specific way. It brings us into silos, and it's very difficult to get out of silos. I mean, we're talking about Cambridge Analytica scandal. It's a perfect manipulation, because basically people answer this online quiz that gives a lot of information. I mean, you probably all have customer cards, Sainsbury and others. Okay, in the old times, when you sign up for this card, you would have to answer 5 to 7 questions. With these 5 or 7 questions, they are data mining your personality. Now think about the information that you're giving on a daily basis on social media and websites. Okay, the CEO of Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, saying that, you know, with 25 likes on Facebook, Facebook know more about you than your colleagues at work. With 50 likes more more than your friends, and with 150 more than your parents. Think about how many likes you give on a daily basis or weekly basis, and all the research you to do. Each time you do a search on Google, you do 2 things. First, you give Google more money because you're providing more information about yourself that can be monetized. Second, you improve the algorithm of Google. You might probably have had this experience where you want to log to a certain website, and suddenly you have pictures emerging and ask you, okay, could you identify cars? And so you press 1, 2, 3, and these are the cars. What you do, basically, you're helping Google to improve its algorithm, because what you do, it's called supervised learning. You're telling the algorithm what is a car and what is not. Okay? So the point I'm making here is that people increasingly give data about themselves, and they expect in return to have an immediate satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, when you teach at university and you're assigned students to read a book, it's becoming difficult. Why? Because this new generation has to be constantly stimulated. So the exercise I used to do was, you know, to assign to read 1 or 2 books in 2 days. And in 2 days, I wanted the students to summarize the book in about 150 words. And it's staggering, the inability nowadays of people, you know, when you read a book, it's about, you know, 10, 15, 20 hours you have to get into it, and you have to be able to synthesize the information. This ability is now starting to being lost. Why? Because students now need to be constantly stimulated. When you give lectures nowadays, everybody has a computer. You think they take notes? Not really. They play on games. They are chatting on social media. And so the brain has to be constantly stimulated. And it's completely changed the way people think. And we have to question the effect, the long-term effect.